Hey everybody, this is Rich and you're with Beekeeping with Rich. This afternoon I want to go take a look here in hive number 1. Uh, what is it now, about 6 weeks ago, this hive was a free living hive hanging from a gumbo limbo tree at a mall nearby. They'd been there for some time, and we went out and collected them, framed them up, brought them back, put them in here. Everything seems to have been doing fine. I've been pretty much hands off with them. I mean, I gave them a couple of supers to make sure that they didn't swarm or anything, because they'd never been confined before. They, like I said, they were free hanging on a branch, which bees can do down here. Now see, I haven't fed them in weeks, but you'll still see there's plenty of damp sugar in here, and that just tells us that we've got a flow going on. Well, as close as we get to a flow, we don't really get a flow, but it tells us we got plenty of plants that are giving us pollen and nectar, because there's just not much activity up here. Come on, ladies. Move. Move, move, move. Thank you. Yeah, I gave them a little bit of smoke on the underside. Excuse me while I walk past you for a moment, dear. I always put these down over here. One of the nice things about the hurricane hive is that I only have to look in one half at a time. Hello, ladies. Now, wait a minute. Oh, okay. No. There's a queen excluder on here, but at a glance, that looks like capped brood cells. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah. I'm trying something that our bee club president does. He just puts apple cider vinegar on his hands, and he says they don't much like that. Yep. That's brood cells. Capped brood and uncapped brood. And you're up here above the queen excluder. What you doing up here? Well,
maybe you have 2 queens?
not likely in this configuration.
Well, repeat what I said.
Oh, my wife said maybe we have 2 queens. A very common phenomenon. These are Africanized bees, African-derived bees. We basically keep Scutellata. They're not quite as nasty as some of the ones in other parts of the country. Come on. But they're smaller. Sometimes they can slip right through the queen excluder. Now, let's see. I'm putting away some nectar. And it's funny, I was startled to see the cat brood up here. It's not that I really care that much, you know. Our main honey flow here will be next month in May and June. Beautiful comb they've drawn out. I had a lot of totally empty frames in here. Yeah, we're foundationless beekeepers. I'm very excited. Next week's speaker at the Palm, yeah. Well, not when by the time this video gets released, I'll have long since been there. But we have a speaker, a woman who was Georgia's Beekeeper of the Year in 2020, and her talk's going to be on being a foundationless beekeeper, because she started out foundationless and she stayed foundationless, just like I have. I started out with top bars, and I just never really saw any reason to go with foundation. Well, what I was looking for today was make sure I had a queen, which obviously I do. There's well, they're backfilling with honey where the brood's coming out here. which tells me that I need to make sure that I've got enough room for them, which I do. I mean, obviously this other comb over here is completely empty, but I've got very small C's down in there, which means young brood. Not small enough to make a queen cell out of, but small, so she's been around here recently. Yeah, she's probably moved down below at this point, as they're backfilling up here. Okay. See, I always worry when I find brood above a queen extractor that I'm going to end up with or queen excluder rather, that I'm going to end up with a whole bunch of dead drones, but I've got the drone escape open on that. Look at that. Yeah. Like I said, this was a hive that was taken out of a tree, and you look at my video on using these rabbit wire hooks. There's a good example of a frame with the rabbit wire hooks on it that has been built out in all directions, and they're perfectly happy with it. Come on, you move. There you go. Totally wild feral hive, totally Africanized, but would you believe it, from what you can see here, if the powers that be will just leave us alone, we'll tame the Africanized bees here in South Florida, and we'll make them into healthy, productive bees. Maybe slightly swarmy, but as long as you're paying attention and using your correct methods, there's no reason why we can't keep our bees without using imported queens. Now, again, here's one of the beauties of my hive. I want to look in the bottom. If this was a regular configuration, I'd have had to take off 2 supers to look in a brood box. But in this case, I only have to take off 1 super, and the other half of this is completely oblivious to the fact that I'm even here. Just put it on top of here, I guess. That way it'll remind me to put it back.
Are you sure you want to put it back? You want to do in the top box.
Yeah, see drones in the bottom, no drones in the top. And there's a drone that, that one was head first going up. It got its head through trying to go up to where the honey was and got itself stuck. Dumb drones. Hello, ladies. So how are you guys doing down below here? Yeah. Now, hive number 3 makes propolis like there's no tomorrow. I mean, if I was just a propolis producer, I would want the hive number 3 queen for all of my hives, because man, do they ever make it in there. Huh. So the queen has moved up top to lay a lot of eggs.
So you better take that excluder off.
Yeah. Mostly dry. You can see all the stores in here. Can you see all the pollen? All the bee bread? That's left over. If they need it, they'll use it. They don't move bee bread around so much. Guess because it's harder to do. Hmm? No, that's true. Wanted to get this done today because we're going to have a weather change tomorrow. Today the temperature's in the mid 80s and humidity is relatively low. Weather conditions are stable, not much breeze. Tomorrow is going to be another matter entirely. Oh yeah, of course. Should be brewed in the bottom. Yeah. And there's no damage there. There's no damage to the queen excluder. It's not like there's a bent wire or something that's giving her access. Well, either she's a skinny queen or she's going to do like that other hive did. And see, I have the queen excluder in here. I have this open so that drones from then the top can get out. And she might have just decided to crawl up. But the main thing I wanted to make sure of is that we had room in here. A lot of backfill. I mean, I did a lot of checkerboarding here in the spring, so you see all this brand new comb in. Even though this was, like I said, spliced in, like the next frame is one of the spliced frames. Come on, you. Oh man, look at all that bee bread. They went to town here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If I was doing splits right now, I'd be putting some of this bee bread in, that's for sure. I'm looking for queen cells. I'm looking for the queen. No sign of queen cells. Good population of bees, keeping everything well covered. Even here where there's, wow, they're putting away so much bee bread. It's like they got something planned here, but I'm not sure what. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Bee bread like there's no tomorrow. I'm not even going to squirt it down in there. I'm just going to waft it over here. Because if they're not being aggressive now, let me see. This is mostly empty right here, right? Why don't we just put you in the middle instead of over to the side? One of the best things I learned being a top bar beekeeper was just kind of sorting things around. Not always keeping things in exactly the order the bees made them. If the bees have made nice straight comb that doesn't bulge out to either side, as you can see, not much bulging there, I'm just going to drop this empty frame straight into the middle of all this instead of off to one side so that they'll pay a little more attention to it. Oh. Ow. Huh. I squished a bee a little earlier with my finger and I didn't feel anything, but now I'm feeling a stinger pumping venom. Huh. Okay. Excuse me just a second. You get stung, you want to mask the smell of the alarm pheromone. Ow, hey, that was uncalled for. Hmm?
Gloves
Well,
or more cider.
yeah, or more cider. Yeah.
Do not put the excluder back on in case she's in the top box.
Yeah. I'll leave this off. It's early enough, but she's in there. Let's let her move around. Mm-hmm. So just out of curiosity, as much as anything, I want to go and look at the top box on this side. Remember, the top box is totally separate from the top box on this side. And so there may be no queen activity over here. And that's just something I want to confirm. Not terribly worried about it. Just a dry comb. Just a maintenance level of bees. Not a lot going on. What a difference an inch and a half makes, huh? Hey everybody, sorry about that. We were doing the inspection here on number 1, and the iPad time, pardon? Got too hot. This is South Florida in the summertime, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It got too hot and the pad shut itself down. Completed what we were doing over there. So the blue box here had no queen activity in it at all. In fact, it was mostly just empty comb. A little bit of nectar being put away. They're mostly working on the super on the left-hand side.
So now we're going into.
And so the next thing we did was
just go into here. We don't have time.
Oh, well, I want to tell them anyway. The next thing we did was go into this little nuke here, which I put a capped queen cell from hive number 3 in sometime back, and when I checked it last time, it hadn't opened yet, and the next time I checked it, it had. We just checked this. We've got brood, we've got larvae, we have the queen obviously hatched out, went out, got laid, came back, and she's producing now. These 2 boxes, I had driven up to West Palm Beach and gotten queens, mated queens, and I'd put one in this split, one in this split, and one in hive number 2, because hive number 2 was queenless at that point. Actually, the queen cell I put in was from this one because I wanted to use the mated queen from selected stock. And last time I checked them, I was pretty sure there wasn't a queen, but you know what? Give it a little more time. We just checked this one, and we have a queen. In fact, we saw the queen as well as we saw her laying and such. Not real productive. Not like the queen that we saw in an observation hive that was just plugging away, even though we were all sitting there staring at her at the fair. But now we're going to check this one and see if we have a queen. Now, right off the bat, this looks like there are a few too many bees to just be the decline from a split. Let's hope. Let's hope. Take that off to the side. Take out frame number 2. Let's hope. Okay, that's an awful lot of brood. And I see a larvae over here, but it looks like that might have been something they were opening up. I'm not sure. Okay, these were made with an awful lot of brood in them. So far, even though these caps look clean and young, I'm not going to... I didn't see a queen. Let me look a little harder. It's been a few more seconds now. If you had her butt in a cell, it'd be moved by now. But there is larvae in here. So, just like the other one, there could not possibly be open larvae unless, thankfully, the queen is. Both of these were just really, really slow to get started. I mean, the breeder had called me and asked how it was going with them because it was his first time. Lots of brood on both sides. She's not going to be over here because there's no room for her. But seals that don't have brood in it have bee bread.
Check that.
But mostly capped. Don't really see any uncapped. Oh, come on, wow. Of course, all the living bees here are from my feistiest hive, hive number 3. Well, I'm looking for the queen. I'm just looking for the queen.
I can't help you with that anymore. Okay. Didn't see it on the other side either.
No. Well, she was put in between this frame and this frame. So maybe she went this direction. Let's see. Lots of... No, just lots of bee bread. Lots and lots of bee bread. But there's a whole lot more bee bread in here than there was, and they wouldn't be bringing in that much pollen and making bee bread. They didn't have a reason to. Oh, this is heavy with... Okay, it's heavy with honey. Both sides. Or more on this side. Let's see. I don't see a queen. What do I see there? Oh, never mind, just nectar. I was hoping the shiny glintiness I was seeing there might have been shiny glinty brood, but they weren't. It was just nectar. And of course, you don't expect much on the ends, but you know what? For all they say, oh, you'll never find the queen on the end frames, I've sure found the queen on plenty of end frames. Bee's going to do what Bee's going to do.
I didn't see her. Did you see queen sign?
I haven't seen any queen sign in this one, really, other than a couple of exposed brood, and that might have been them taking the caps off of some brood.
Give it another week.
Oh yeah, patience. We've still got plenty of cap brood in here. This isn't in decline as yet. And by this time, a week from now, one of our local queen breeders might have his first batch ready. So I could try one of his. Or I can just go ahead and go in and grab a frame out of number 3 in the bottom and put in some eggs, because we sure got plenty of power left here.
And we'll have young bees.
Hmm?
And they'll have young bees.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of young bees. Okay, well, great. 2 out of 3 is a lot better than 1 out of 3.
Or 0.
Or 0. Good. So, where do we stand? We have the hive number 1 from a gumbo limbo tree that is doing just fine and seems to be keeping their fairly pleasant disposition that they had out on the tree. I mean, and this was no swarm. This was 8 big frames of comb. Hive number 2 had gone queenless, and I put in a queen cell from West Palm in there, and she took okay. But I checked them last week, and there just was really no activity going on in those 2 upper supers that I had on there. And there was plenty of room in the bottom, but she was down there laying, so I went ahead and took those supers off because it was only going to be a matter of time till small hive beetles started getting into them, because you just don't leave unprotected supers on. Number 3, well, number 3 is the bulletproof, will defy everything hive that just, they're a little testy, a little nasty, but they're very productive. And they're a very good source for pulling brood for other things. That swarm up there is building up super slow, but they're there and they're doing their thing. So that's where we stand at the moment. We've got our 3 hives. We've got a couple of splits to pull down the energy from up there, and we've only got that 1 swarm up there. So that's where my apiary stands at this moment in time. This is Rich. Beekeeping with Rich. Like and subscribe. See you later.